Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Faith, or more commonly known here on YouTube as FK Doodles. I am an artist and illustrator. Now in today's video we will be going over and discussing something very special today. So recently I was reached out to and given the biggest opportunity to collaborate with a wonderful team at Woomer Art. They are a small team of art and cat lovers with a mission to create high quality, enjoyable art supplies that are both accessible and affordable. And so with that being said, and again I want to thank the Woomer team for supplying me and gifting me with this wonderful set of pencils. In today's video we'll be taking a closer look and testing out their impressive 72 color pencil set. I'm sure you guys know what time it is, so let's take a look at these pencils together and unbox them. Unopened just for you guys so we could do it on video together. Alright. Oh, they're a lot heavier than I thought they'd be. There is quite a weight in there. First glance, the packaging is honestly so nice, especially the cover art. I love the cat. You guys can see all the detail there. These are good light fastness, soft core, artist quality, and saturated colors. This is something I like to see because if you guys know me by now, I am an artist that loves my bright, colorful colors in my artwork. So this is a plus. I'm very much looking forward to this. Let's take a quick look at the back. So here are the colors. I'm hoping there's brighter colors on the inside and this isn't just what they have because these look quite dark to me, but I'm hoping for the best when we open them. Again, let's look at what it says on the back. These are easy to blend, 3.8mm soft core, break resistant lead, which will be interesting to see because I know a lot of colored pencils I use currently, they break very easily. We're talking about Prismacolor and sometimes Crayola, they break very fast. We have wide range of colors, which I'm hoping for, and richly saturated pigments. This is my biggest go-to and what I'm hoping the best outcome for. All right, let's open these up. Honestly, an orange color was such a nice choice for the packaging. It's so bright. Oh, there's their little name. Oh, that's so cute. Alrighty guys, moment of truth. Are we ready? I think we're ready. Let's open this up. Ooh. Look at those colors. Guys, I am not disappointed. Look at that. It kind of scared me with the back of the box, but honestly, look at those. Guys, they are a company after my artist heart. Look at that. Oh, the purples are so vibrant as well. Look at those. There were the colors again on the box. Nothing like what's in the box. This is like a beautiful surprise. Wow, I'm so excited. Get it together, get it together. Okay. Oh, those are quite nice. Look at that. The gold is so pretty. Oh, even the little logo, look at that. Hopefully the camera can pick that up, but look at that. That's such a nice detail. Now let's talk a bit about Woomer. Their 72 color pencil set is their signature product and often the first step people take in discovering their brand. Their pencils are known for their smooth application and rich color payoff, which they are often described as buttery smooth. Some key features of these pencils will include that they have a 3.8mm soft oil-based core for smooth, effortless coloring, highly pigmented colors with excellent blending performance, supports multiple layers without chalkiness or wax buildup, comfortable barrel design for long session drawings, and suitable for both beginner and professional artists. So honestly, initial thoughts, I'm actually really happy with the color of these. They're also super comfortable to hold. Also, I like that the end is finished, so you're not kind of scratching yourself on it. They do seem very thick for pencils. They are also oil-based, which I haven't tried before, so I'm very excited to try these out for the first time. I was looking forward to seeing if they had a swatch sheet in here, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they do. That was something I was very much looking forward to. No, wait, guys, the packaging, right? Do you see that? It's inside the packaging. Okay, I'm gonna open this up and then we're gonna take a look at it. Guys, okay. Let me rephrase my initial point. This is the packaging on the outside of the case. But guys, when you open it, there's a swatch sheet on the inside. I would have never guessed it was there. And I would have missed it if I didn't just look over. Look at that. Ooh. That is so exciting. Because initially I was going to make my own color chart, but this just makes everything so much easier. See all the colors there? This is something I really appreciate, and it's a nice touch. I love when companies add little swatch sheets. It just makes everything so much easier and so much more exciting. Oh look, I was actually curious on what the little like kind of crosses meant. So it is kind of levels of light fastness for the pencils. So that'll be interesting to see and kind of see how it plays out when we're drawing and using them later in the video. So that'll be something we'll have to keep an eye on. So that is in reference to, here's the pencil we showed earlier, and then if you flip it over, there is that little scale there. That'll be good to see, so I'm very actually curious and excited to test that out when we use them. So now, before we jump into creating any kind of art piece with these colored pencils, I think the best place to start off with will be color swatching all 72 of these colored pencils, and then jumping into a few blending tests I had set up for these. So let's get to that. Alrighty guys, so that concludes the swatching, and here are all the colors we currently have. So initial impression of these is that they're super smooth. Honestly, I'd say from all the colored pencils I've used up until this point in my kind of art journey, art career, these actually are honestly pretty close to like Prismacolor, I'd say, Prismacolor Premier. We'll test them side by side later, but yeah, that's what they reminded me of. Honestly, maybe even smoother. They're so smooth and so appealing to work with. So here are all our colors. Again, a wide range of colors, lots of yellows and lots of transition colors, which will be wonderful for our drawing. We'll make blending really easy. Then we have our second layer of pencils. These are the greens, purples, and browns. Honestly, I really enjoyed doing the yellows in particular. They just went on so smooth and they're so vibrant. I think my favorite color has to be the cadmium yellow right now. But again, honestly, there's nothing bad I can say about these pencils. They're all genuinely just so nice to use, especially for the swatching. And I'm sure this is maybe cardstock. It's not mixed media paper, but definitely cardstock. In terms of the cardstock, it just went on like super easy. So I'm excited to see how it works with the mixed media paper once we jump into that and the tests I have for these pencils. But yeah, so far, first impression is I'm loving these colors so far. So now we've made it to the part of the video where I will be putting these 72 colored pencils into a few tests. This is kind of the page we'll be using. I do have a few things set up already. Be doing most of our tests over here, and I'll be going through that with you guys today. We're going to be comparing the pencils to both Crayola and Prismacolor colored pencils to see how they hold up and where they range between more expensive pencils and more affordable pencils. Our second test is going to be blending the pencils. We're going to be testing if one color can be easily shifted and blended into another color. For example, maybe we want to do a green straight into a red or a blue into a yellow. So that'll be our second test. And then for our third test, we're going to color blend a plain circle. So kind of like the ones you see in art class, we're going to be coloring in a 3D sphere, but also we're going to be testing the same coloring of the sphere but over Ohuhu marker, because for a lot of my colored pencil drawings, a technique I like to use is first and foremost putting a layer of Ohuhu marker on the page before I do my colored pencil on top to make it seem more seamless and blended. So in hindsight, for these tests in particular, I'll be testing how well their application is, how well they blend between different colors, on techniques I use in my own colored pencil pieces, and how they compare to other types of colored pencils, both on the cheaper side and more expensive side. Alrighty, so for this first test, we're gonna get a bit up close and personal with these pencils. I want to compare how well the Woomer 72 colored pencils compare in application to both Crayola colored pencils, which are on the more affordable side of the spectrum when it comes to cost, and we're going to also be comparing them to one of my personal favorites, Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. So of course, up first we have Crayola, Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, and then our runner-up today we have our Woomer colored pencils. Alrighty, so first I guess we're going to start off with Crayola themselves. Here are the three colors I will be using. Let's see. So as expected, Crayola isn't super smooth with their pencils. You do have to push a bit if you want it to be seamless and blended. Honestly, if you're looking for something just on the go and real quick, they are perfect for that. When you rub your finger, they don't really smudge too much. Up next, we have Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, my favorite brand and go-to for all my projects. Here are the three colors we'll be using today. Let's compare these to Crayola. Oh yeah, compared to Crayola, these are super smooth, super buttery, and honestly, it's generally something I love about these pencils. Putting the same amount of pressure as I did with the Crayola, you could already see there's a bit of smudging, but look at that. Look at that. Again with the turquoise. Super smooth again, and it's super seamless, no streaks at all. No streaking whatsoever. We are now going to test Woomer compared to the Crayola and to Prismacolor. Here is the red Woomer colored pencil. Here we go. Same amount of pressure as the last ones, and wow, I was not expecting that. These are honestly just as smooth as the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. Wow. Blue. I'd say same amount of smudging when it comes to Prismacolor, so they're both in the same boat with that. And here is the green. So honestly, first impression, a lot better than Crayola when it comes to Woomer. Prismacolor and Woomer are both better than Crayola. I didn't realize how close they'd be to Prismacolor in terms of like quality. Honestly, if you had these side by side and just didn't have the brands on them, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's how smooth they are. Woomer is actually very, very comparable to Prismacolor in my opinion. Prismacolor may have, of course, more selection in color and a bit more vibrancy, but all in all, that's very impressive in my opinion. I'll kind of be honest, and nothing against Prismacolor, but right now, honestly, Woomer's actually, after doing another test, Woomer is smoother than Prismacolor Premier Colored pencils. That's kind of crazy to me actually, because these are around $100 pencils. Wow. That's actually kind of blowing my mind. I'm so excited to try and blend with these. Now, you're probably wondering why, Faith, why are we so close to the page? Well, artists, please forgive me for what I'm about to do, but I was actually really curious because the Prismacolor Premier Colored pencils and the Woomer pencils are honestly super, super similar when it comes to how smooth they are. And personally for me, one of my biggest gripes about colored pencils when I'm drawing is if you press too hard, the lead or the pigment will break off and then chunks fly everywhere and smudge here and there. So for this test, I wanted to see how hard I can press for them to break. So we're going to be trying that. So this is Crayola. So, oh, wow. So I did have to press a little bit, but Crayola did explode, which is honestly expected because it's such a hard nib for a pencil. Again, like our test, it's super hard. Yeah, this test is graphic, colored pencil users, please look away. But now I'm very curious to try and see Prismacolor and the Woomer colored pencils together. So that was Crayola. Let's shimmy over a bit, and this is the Prismacolor. Again, we are just going to press. Oh, gotta break the. So again, just a little bit of force, and the Prismacolor Premier Colored pencils do splinter off at the ends because of how smooth it is, which does leave a lot of pigment. So that's something you do have to be aware of when you're drawing, or how much pressure you are using for your drawings. But yes, Prismacolor Premier Colored pencils, because of how soft they are, do drop a lot of debris, which can, unfortunately, as you can see, smudge very easily with just a very light bit of pressure. And now finally, we're going to be testing our Woomer colored pencils. I'm very curious for these pencils because they are oil-based. I'm not sure if that'll make a difference because the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils are not. They are wax. So I'm wondering how much this pencil will splinter off with how much pressure is applied. So here is the Woomer colored pencil. Ooh! Pencil doesn't want to cooperate. Wow. I'll be honest, I'm pressing harder than the other pencils. Nothing is splintering off. Wow. Yeah, nothing splintered off. Nothing came off at all. Like, nothing broke off in large chunks. That's crazy to me. And I pressed even harder than the Prismacolor and Crayola. Wow. That's very impressive in my opinion. And again, lots of smudge from the tiny pieces that were left over, but nothing compared to the Prismacolor, because the Prismacolor kind of just splintered off into large chunks. So that's very positive in my opinion. I love that it didn't. I'll try one more time though. Yeah, not as bad as the Prismacolor. That's very impressive. and something it's small, but I really appreciate that with my colored pencils. Now, thankfully, this test won't be as graphic as the last one. Next, I want to test how well these colored pencils can transition between colors through layering and blending. And for this test, I'll be using my trusty Derwent colorless pencil blender. This is something I go towards all the time when it comes to blending my pencils, and I'll be showing you why in the next transition with me coloring. Honestly, it just makes the blending so much smoother and so much easier. If you don't have access to one of these, I just picked mine up at Michael's or any kind of art store. Honestly, I'd recommend either a Kleenex or even a pencil paper stump. This works just as well and honestly gets the job done. But with that being said, let's jump straight into the next test. Guys, I'm sorry, I just have to jump in here for a minute. Do you see what I'm seeing? I haven't even used my pencil blender yet. Look how smooth that is. Incredibly, ridiculously, utterly smooth. Look at that transition. Holy moly. Honestly, these are not trying to like sound kind of crazy or anything, but I think by far these are honestly the smoothest pencils I've ever used in my entire life. Like, look at that gradation and transition in color. That's insane to me. I'm still gonna test it with my colored pencil blender, but I'm like, guys, I'm shocked. I honestly think these are, sorry Prismacolor, but these are honestly right now better than Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, which is absolutely crazy for me to say. I'm just, I am blown away. And there's no like wax buildup at all. Usually with my Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, I have a lot of wax buildup I have to kind of like wipe away with a Kleenex, but there is like no buildup or like extra shininess at all. Let me finish blending this real quick though so I can give you guys a closer look. I may do that, but guys, look at that transition and blend. That is insane. And honestly, there's nothing bad I can say. I'm not just trying to sound good for the video or anything. This is like genuinely the craziest transition of colors I've ever seen from a colored pencil. These are honestly amazing in my opinion. Look at that. I am so excited to try these for the drawing I'm planning, and I hope you guys are excited too because I picked a really, really colorful piece, and I'm too excited, guys. I'm too excited. These are amazing. Look at that. Honestly, this is honestly, I'm even at a loss for words, which is hard for me for art supplies. This is like incredible. I love this so much. I wish you guys could see it in person, because in person it's so much more vibrant and like colorful and like seamless, but that's amazing in my opinion. Look at that. We still have a few more tests to do, but honestly, I'm already blown away. This is incredible. Alright guys, finally, and in my opinion the most important test we will be doing with these colored pencils is testing whether or not I am able to fully render and seamlessly blend these two separate spheres. On the first sphere, I will be just using the pencils themselves with, of course, the Derwent colorless pencil blender. And for the second sphere, I will be using a base of alcohol marker, specifically Ohuhu marker, which is the technique I use in almost all of my colored pencil drawings, like pieces including my Sun and Moon, my Toy Bonnie, my Golden Mario, my Luigi, my Glamrock Chica, all of the above. If you were interested in which Ohuhu markers I am using, I do have them listed here. So for my first lighter color, I'm using Horizon Blue. Then going down into darker colors, we have the light sky blue, fresh blue, cerulean blue, and sapphire. So I will be doing these in blue, and we are going to see how that goes. Alrighty guys, so that looks like that is the conclusion of our tests. So this is the final test for coloring the 3D spheres, and honestly I am kind of blown away at this point. The blending was really easy, super smooth, came out really well in my opinion. Nothing honestly went wrong. I think the white splotching through the paper is very minimal with just the plain colored pencil on paper, and then with the colored pencil on Ohuhu marker, it is honestly, in my opinion, just turned out really seamless. Overall, I think I'm really happy with these tests so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them in our later drawing. And with all our tests being concluded and us finishing our intro, I think now's the best time to share with you guys what we'll be drawing using these colored pencils. 3, 2, 1. Yes, we are doing Invincible Mario for this video. I can't wait to see how this turns out. Let's go. Alright guys, so after 5 days of coloring back to back, I am ready to announce that this is our finished art piece. So I really thoroughly enjoyed using the Woomer colored pencils throughout the process of this art piece, and I found it very easy to jump from being primarily a Prismacolor Premier color pencil user to instead using the Woomer pencils for this particular art piece. I found that the Woomer colored pencils are also able to layer on top of my Ohuhu markers extremely well, which made the process for this art piece super easy and super seamless. And the pencils are actually able to surprisingly withstand layers of Ohuhu marker placed on top of the blended color pencil areas, which is a huge plus for me for my drawings. However, I think this now leads into that in regards to blending, I would genuinely rank these Woomer colored pencils a genuine 10 out of 10. As mentioned beforehand, I have always been a Prismacolor Premier colored pencil user. However, when switching over to using the Woomer colored pencils for this art piece in particular, I actually found that there was honestly no difference whatsoever. It was as if I didn't even swap them out to begin with. The Woomer colored pencils definitely stand true to the statement that they are buttery smooth and blend well, because in all honesty, this was one of the most fun cases I've had with color pencils in a long time, and I really enjoyed working on this art piece for you guys. They were able to handle multiple layers on top of each other during the coloring process, and I think the best part in general was that I experienced absolutely no page tear and wear, which is something unfortunately I experienced a lot layering colored pencils in long session drawings. So being able to work on this drawing with absolutely no issues was just such a nice feeling, and it was honestly so impressive. In regards to the overall variety of colors provided in the Woomer 72 colored pencil set, I was also very pleased. There were a lot of color variations and shades which made the blending and overall saturation while coloring extremely satisfying. I'm very happy with how all the overall colors are in the final piece, and I found that they offered a lot of different shades which made transitioning between different colors also really easy, which was great for this piece as well. And honestly, I'd love to eventually one day be able to get my hands on one of their bigger sets, because I'd love to see how many more vibrant colors they have to offer. The one small thing I found was that my white colored pencil had ended up being my most used pencil throughout the entire project, and thankfully Woomer does actually offer pencil refills on their official website, which is a huge plus. Something else I also wanted to mention is that for the quality of these pencils, you'd expect them to be a bit up there in price. However, thankfully, these pencils are quite budget friendly and are honestly worth looking into if you're looking for high quality pencils that are both beginner and professional friendly. Actually, speaking of how budget friendly these pencils are, thanks to the wonderful team at Woomer, I have been given the wonderful opportunity to give back to you guys and share my appreciation for all your love and support lately. With this code on screen, or by using the link straight in the description, you can now get 10% off your very own 72 color pencil set from Woomer. In the description of this video, I also have available the link to Woomer's official website so that you can have a chance to check out the rest of their cool art supplies. Because I know they also carry watercolors and paints. Anything you could name, they have it. However, in conclusion, and in genuine honesty, I highly recommend these pencils for how well they apply and how high quality they are. I can definitely see myself using these a lot more in my future pieces, and honestly, maybe even crowning them and the Woomer colored pencils my new favorite pencils to use overall. Now, one more thing before this video ends, I want to thank the team at Woomer one more time for gifting me and giving me the wonderful opportunity to experience and demonstrate these beautiful colored pencils on video for you guys today. I want to also thank all you guys so much for watching and supporting me and my art journey. Thank you for watching and happy creating. See you in the next video.